Hey guys, thanks for joining me today on the Dad Code Podcast. Real dads, real talk, no BS. In today's Dad Rant, we're going to be talking about work and how we spend our time and energy. And maybe I'm going to be talking about some challenging news that I found out about myself here recently. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below for me. Go ahead and share this video with your friends. Really helps us whenever you subscribe and hit the like button for sure. Go ahead and leave us a Rumble on Rumble and check us out on all of our social media on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and what I forget, Twitter. Always forget Twitter. You can also find all the audio versions of all these podcasts on your favorite podcasting platform: Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, we're probably there. Let's jump right into it. Work. Jobs are hard sometimes. But what do we do whenever a job or an employer asks you to add a responsibility to your job or job description with no additional compensation? It's a difficult pill to swallow for a lot of people. How do we handle that situation? Do we just quit? No, I don't think so. It's too reactionary. Do we just suck it up and accept it? I mean, if you can do that, if you can handle it, if it's not too much for you, then maybe that's the right thing for you to do. Do you accept less pay, maybe, and just see if you can keep your current responsibilities? All while maybe you're looking for another job in that time. Or do you fight it? Do you fight to keep your current situation? Or at least ask for more money? Because you know your worth, maybe? Maybe that's something for some of you people. I mean, everybody's situation is different. But let's back up and ask a much broader question. Why is everybody's job situation in such a strange state currently? Is it the economy? I mean, I know the economy's bad under old Uncle Joe, but is that what really account for all of it? I mean, jobs are asking a lot of their employees right now. They're asking them to do more for less or the same. But oddly enough, conversely, there are other employers that are hiring at higher rates, trying to poach employees, which makes you wonder why anybody would accept mistreatment or being underpaid or overworked by anybody when there's so much competition at the moment for good help. I mean, healthcare. My personal experience, healthcare, I know is really bad right now. I mean, you have some hospitals that want their employees to work just ridiculous hours to make up for the employees that they lost. Employees that they lost due to them leaving for more pay or a better work life balance, or sometimes both, a lot of times. Personally, I think this is a really strange time in American history, but I think that you're going to find out who really values their workers in a time like this. You're going to find out who the good leaders and who the good managers are through all this, because they're going to do whatever they can to keep their employees, the good employees, there. But I think the real answer is you need to be working on your hustle all the time, your side hustle even. You know, Grant Cardone says that you should have so much going on at one time. Your funnel or your pipeline, whatever you want to call it, should be so full that any one disappointment is not really a problem. I paraphrase that, obviously, but you need to have your side hustle growing at all times. It needs to be moving and shaking. I mean, I'm sure for me, I know, but I'm sure for you, most of you as well. you'd probably work 80 hours for yourself before you took any shit from a job over a 40 to 60-hour work week and having to deal with BS. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. Maybe I'm just becoming more salty. Maybe I just can take less BS these days. Maybe my patience for the BS is just lower than it used to be. All fair points. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that everybody uh, shouldn't work. I think everybody should work, not just work, but everybody should work hard, very hard. Um, I'm really not saying that people should be whiny little babies about being asked to do more work, even. I just think that there needs to be a discussion had at this point in everybody's lives and just the time that America is in right now. We need to have a conversation around the line that delineates where you should push through and work harder and work more, or where does it become absurdity? Where's the line where someone is taking advantage of you? Where we have to be able to reconfigure this line as dads because we need to be able to teach our kids about this stuff. I mean, we want our kids to be great kids. We want them to be polite, but we can't always be agreeable in the face of somebody taking advantage of them. I fully acknowledge that, as younger generations come up, including my own, it seems like there are seemingly fewer and fewer that are willing to work as hard as the previous generation. I mean, I sit and listen to my grandfather talk about some of his work stories from back in the day, and I'm like, geez, I feel like kind of a sissy, compared to all the, 14, 16-hour work days, 6 and 7 days a week. I was just like, good Lord, they made them different back then. That's for sure. But again, where is that line though? Where is the line of absurdity? Where is that line where you're being taken advantage of? Do they have the right to ask an unlimited amount of workload and effort from their employees? That is my question. What do you guys think? I mean, feel free to comment if you're on YouTube, Rumble, even in the audio podcasts. It's a very interesting discussion that needs to be had. And maybe the answer to that is yes. But I still think that discussion needs to be had about where that line is, and all while knowing that, obviously everybody's situation is going to be different. But, life is short. Sometimes it throws things at us that challenge our mortality, if you will. It makes us realize that our time here is limited. I mean, I'll circle back to this, but how does this relate to our job? Well, it certainly it makes you start thinking about how much of our time, energy, effort that we give to our work. Again, everybody should work, not just work, but work hard. But it makes you start thinking about it. I mean, I know I've always been that guy that said, yeah, sure, I'll do that extra work. Yeah, I can handle it. And, I'm on it, whatever, never say no. I've always been a hard worker. I mean, most likely to a fault. Many times, my family has even taken the back seat to my professional goals, for sure. I mean, it's the truth. I'm not proud of it, but, I always did it under the guise that I felt like I was doing it for them. And I'd say that's mostly true. But at some point, it becomes more of a bad habit than a good virtue. At some point, you lose sight of what or who you're doing it for rather than are you just focused on doing the work? It comes more, like I said, just becomes a habit rather than focusing on who you're doing it for or what you're doing it for. I mean, it's work that has lost its purpose in those situations. Its purpose that was it was once noble, but sometimes it devolves into a toxic habit. As men, we have the natural instinct to provide and protect. Again, and I'm not saying don't go work hard. Everyone should work hard. I don't know how many times I got to say it. And I think that they should not only work hard, but they should over deliver when they do work. As a father, I think the default is you want to just teach your kids to work, 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 right? And work hard. But keep in mind, there will come a day for most of us, a day when we're faced with a situation that makes us question how we spent or do spend our time and energy. About a month ago, my GP, my general practitioner, on a routine checkup, found a noticeable lump on my neck. So I got a referral to an ENT doctor to get it checked out. Last week was that appointment. They found a golf ball sized nodule on top of what was already an enlarged right lobe of my thyroid. I kind of prepared myself to hear this news beforehand. But I promise you, you're never really ready to hear that you need surgery. Never really ready to hear that we got to cut something out of you. That what is in you is too big for us to just biopsy. Wow. It was the first moment in my life that I had questioned my mortality. It made me stop and think about literally everything. I mean, it's a fairly, whatever routine is, but it's a relatively routine procedure. Procedure itself is not really what I'm worried about. It's more finding out what the hell that thing is in my neck. What's that diagnosis going to be when they send it off for pathology? What if it's cancer? Scary stuff. Now I'm really starting to think of how I've spent my life, how I've spent my time and energy. We're dads, we're guys, we're providers, we're teachers, we're protectors. If you're someone who is working their ass off to support your family, great. I mean, seriously, great. You deserve to be recognized for that, for being a great provider. But make sure you're spending your time, the time that you have with people you love. Spend it doing what you want to do, with who you want to be with. I'm not saying it again as an outlet for you to make excuses not to work, but don't waste all your energy on something that you don't feel like is real fruitful for you. If you enjoy working a lot, you get a lot of pride out of your work, you're passionate about it, and it's not hurting your relationships, then great. Good. Go get it, man. Do it. But the older we get, the more we need to evaluate every day how much of our energy we're spending on positive things in our lives, things we love doing. which could be work for you. Like I said, if you're extremely passionate about it, great. But have purpose for everything we do. Manage our time very well. We need to do that way better. Get the absolute most out of every second in your life. That way, when a challenging time comes and you're faced with something that potentially could test your faith, your physical or your mental well being, then your cup is full. A life well lived with purpose is a powerful thing for a man. Dads, live your life. Live it with purpose. Face every challenge head on. For we are dads. And that is what we do. This was a dad rant.